I'm back, and this is video 89 in my ACS vanilla gameplay. And in my last video I was able to get to the peak cultivation stage for Shendao disciples, as well as the peak mental state stage, which is the spirit stage. And right now I've actually went forward and moved my Shendao to Mount Copper Tomb and went AFK while I was in bed. So right now you can see that my gameplay is on day 989, whereas my regular gameplay is probably closer to around, I believe, day 570 if I remember correctly. But I just had my Shendao disciples sitting on Tomb just so that they can gain belief over time, over a few hours while I sleep. So right now all of my Shendao disciples have over 1 billion belief, which honestly isn't too much, but it is a significant amount to the point where I can just do anything with my divine realm. So right now we have this guy that has 1.2 billion, and everyone else has about like 1.7, 1.6 billion, and so on. But the guys that had higher divinity obviously had a lower divinity buff, so they gained belief at a slower rate than other guys. So that's why these other guys have about double. And then besides that, I did actually go ahead and tested if it was better for me to be on balance or indulgence, because if I'm on balance, then that means that the distress would be less, but if you're on indulgence, then that means that the distress will have a negative bonus, but your divinity will have a positive bonus because you have lower divinity. And I've come to the conclusion that it's just better to be on indulgence, because one, your Shendao won't ascend while you're off map, and two, just the amount of pluses and minuses that we get on indulgence is more than we get on balance. So right here, as you can see, I'm at +2 and then -2, and then I'm at +5 for the sacred relic, and then right here I'm just at -1 for divinity. So this one I'm at 6 positive, and in this one I'm at 7 positive. Oh sorry, on this one I'm at 5 positive, and then on this one I'm at 4 positive basically. So being on indulgence makes you gain divinity faster, or belief faster, not divinity. And then it also reduces the amount of divinity that you gain, so that your Shendao will never have to face that ascension tribulation, because they won't be reaching 100% divinity while off map. So now I'm just going to leave this area, and then I also was curious about whether or not I could recruit this disciple, because they have pretty good stats, but I don't see anything about them being an ancient cultivator, even though they do have the ancient cultivator modifier. So I don't know, I kind of wanted to try to invite them to sect, so I think I will have my demigod go and try to do that. So I'm just going to do that as a quick little side mission. Okay, so yeah, we're on day 574, so I was AFK for about 400 days. And then before this recording I actually restarted it, so I was really AFK for about like 800 days in total. So I'm just gonna see if I can invite this elder to my sect first with this demigod disciple, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll just move forward and forget about them. Yeah, it says they're busy these days. Alright, back to the Shendao stuff. So now that my disciples are at the max mental state and they have 1 billion belief each, I can now well, they're at the max mental state stage, however they do not have 700 mental state naturally. So oh, this is scary. I have my Shendaos on indulgence right now. I need to switch them to restrained. I almost messed up, because if they cultivated, that would have been annoying. Even though getting an obsession wouldn't be too bad, because I'm looking to reduce their mental state. Anyways, now that my Shendao disciples have a 700 mental state cap, I do want to bring them to that 700 mental state. So I'm going to move forward with using the sect leader and the branch leader debuff to do that. And yeah, I'll just do that on Shendao 1, or one of the Shendaos, and then do it for the rest of them off screen. So let's just start off with Shendao 1, And if you see my other videos, you already know how to do this, so I don't really need to fully explain this. I'm just gonna send them to the still stage, which is 200 to 300 mental state, and use that to increase their mental state even further. So first of all, let me make a save file before I do that, just in case I mess up. So right now we're on 574. Spirit goes still. I was named this 1 billion belief, since my Shendaos now have 1 billion belief. And then I'll create the save scum. Gotta move it over to the different folder and all that other good stuff. So now that they're in sect, I have them in restrain because I want to increase their mental state by as much as possible, and I'll just move forward with using the branch leader and sect leader debuff to reduce their mental to 200. And I did want to show this because I think that since they're at a higher mental state value, which is 545, I'll be needing to use more branch areas, and I wanted to show you guys how that will look basically. So I'll assign Shendao 1 as the branch leader, and then they have the distrust branch leader debuff, and now I will assign them as the sect leader. So with the distrust branch leader debuff, they lose 77 mental state, and then if I make them the sect leader, then they lose another 91 on top of that. So now they have the distrust branch leader and 11 stats to the distrust sect leader debuff. Oh, so just assign them as the sect leader added on to the branch leader debuff. So that just made the branch leader debuff worse. So we're still only at 91, and then we're at 11. So now I need to reduce this guy's mental state to 200. So I need to reduce it by 230. So I need to get 111 stacks of the distress sect leader debuff. So let's just assign this guy, and you cannot get more than 100 stacks. So I won't even be able to cap this out, but I'm going to reduce it as much as possible. And of course, because I'll be on a still stage, I will be accumulating hatred, so I may also need to make my Shendao like ready to do a tribulation. So we're just going to continue to load up this debuff. Let's go debuff, let's go. Jing. Okay, so they're now at 324 mental state, so I just have to keep going. Hopefully we can get there, and we're at 77, 83, 89, and then 95. So now we're pretty much maxed out on our debuffs. So let's see. Oh, I have to choose a branch style first. Okay, so now we're maxed out on the sect leader debuff, and the branch leader debuff is almost maxed, which is fine. You can pretty much never count on the branch leader debuff from being maxed because you probably just won't have as many disciples as you need. Like even right here, I have 32 disciples, but in other game modes we're capped out to 18 disciples. So I'm even like benefiting even more from this debuff. So now that we have these two debuffs, I'm just gonna wait until the next day so that we can lock in the tired debuff, because as we learned in the last video, for the debuff to lock in you just need them to reach the next day basically for this to reset. So I guess the game gives you like a day of like leniency in case you mess up. Oh, now that a day has passed, it looks like my Shendao disciple is now at, so I think the debuff got like intensified. So now we're at 185 mental state or something else. Let's see. No, I think it had something to do with when the day triggered. So let me just throw on one of these talismans. So I'll use this everlasting prosperity to increase their mental state. So we're at 225. I wonder what their hatred is looking like now. Yeah, so we're at 87.9% hatred. So I probably will need to equip some guards. Or I definitely will need to, because they will be doing a tribulation soon. So luckily I do have some notes from the last time I did Shendao Disciples. So I'm not completely out of the loop in terms of what guards I need. But the first thing I need to do to basically increase my Shendao's power and resistance to tribulations is make some guards temples. And then level them up to level 9. So let me see. So right here, from like a year ago, I have this tribulation survival kit right here. So these are the defensive guards that I would take. So pretty much you just take all of the guards that say anything about defensive, and these are the ones that I've had listed out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guards listed out. But I only have 201,000 population right now, so I'll probably have to increase my mental state as well in order to have access to more controllable population. Or I can just overclock my Shendao, which, you know, isn't that bad of a thing. So right now I don't need the ferryman, so let's just go through everything to make sure that I have all of the defensive guards. So right now, this one increases artifact power and artifact chi, because we don't need that. This one increases mass chi, so we definitely want that one. Chi sense, that's useful, but it's not super important. Spell power, barrier power, I want that for sure. This one increases mass chi and gives resurrection. That was the ferryman. Let's create some more guard temples. And then this one increases mass chi. Then this one increases barrier power again. Then this one is spell. I think I definitely want the nether judge, since that one will increase mass chi by a lot. And then I would also want to have probably the one that increases barrier power or mass chi. Let's see, what's their barrier power now with these new guards equipped? Let's let the game run for a little bit. 0.3. Let's see if I can add a little bit more barrier power. So these both add barrier power, so I'm conflicted. So I'll try to add both of them. So I just did mass chi, barrier power, and then let's do barrier power again. So I think I have all of the defensive ones now. So this is mass chi, this is chi sense, spell power, barrier power. This one increases mass chi as well, and lifespan. And this increases mass chi. And this is barrier power and artifact power, barrier power, spell power. And then this one also increases mass chi. So yeah, I have all of the guards that I need. So let's see, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 guards that I would want to have equipped. And then let's see, do I have the Temple of Glaze? Yeah, I do have the Temple of Glaze. Where's that at? I see the Hall of Rallying. Oh, I just don't have enough Divine Resonance to get it. So I think I want to focus on the nether judge, and let's try to increase that. Let's see. So I have 15,000 divine resonance, so I'm not sure. I'm just gonna increase them all to like level 4 if I can. Just gonna keep going. So now I'm definitely over cap. So let's see, what's their stats like? So they have 481,000 mass chi and 0.72 barrier power. So I do need to equip the dark armor talisman as well for this disciple. So let's try to remove something. I definitely don't want the divine authority talisman anymore. So let's go with the dark armor talisman. Okay, I have 1 tier 12 dark armor talisman. But that's my sub-spirit one, and I don't want to like forget where I had that one, so I'll just create a dark armor talisman. But yeah, this is pretty much the last time I will... What is that? I wonder why they can't craft like that. That's weird. But this is the last time that I will need to go back down to the still stage, so I'm just dealing with this in the meantime. Luckily I had that mod, so I was able to create the dark armor talisman that way. I do not know why my game was bugged like that. Oh, spiritual plant maturing. Crimson fruit developed, fire chi abounded while heaven and earth work together. Great gains in understanding. Interesting. Let's see what happened. So it reached 100% growth, and I don't know what the full maturity means. All right, it looks beautiful though. So I'll just keep it like that. I wish this one would reach 100% growth. Anyways, back to Shendao 1. So right now they have a tribulation, but they have 480,000 chi, and right now they have a barrier power of 0.7. That's probably because I don't have the dark armor talisman equipped. So now with the dark armor talisman, they have 7 barrier power, which I think is more than enough for them to be able to do the tribulation. So once the hatred tribulation comes, I'll be able to do that. It's called a belief tribulation, sorry. A belief tribulation tribute by hatred, which is triggered by hatred. Oh, this guy's trying to take an item. I thought we killed you guys. Okay, yeah, everyone is dying. Alright, so now we're just waiting for Shendao 1 to get their mental state to the cap or have to face that tribulation. All of my spirit roots are going. So they're at 240 mental state. Let's use Generation 2 Turtle to use Wise Detachment to speed this up. $246. Let's see, do they have Belief Tribulation yet? No, they're 92%. Maybe they can get through this before the Tribulation tribute. Maybe they can get through this before the Tribulation triggers. I don't know why it took me, like, it was so hard for me to get that out. I mean, it's accumulating, but it doesn't seem to be as fast as I thought it would be, so maybe I don't even need to set everything up. Let me check my other Shendaos. So this guy has 94%. They start off with 78% hatred. So if they can get through it, I'm pretty sure everyone else can get through it. Shendao 2, they're at 48% hatred, which isn't bad. 44%. Yeah, so no one has as much hatred as Shendao 1, so this is the only time that I would need to do this. So let's see. Oh, the Spring Festival minion. I'm like, why did I stop my game? So let's look for a Firecracker. I know that I have a lot of them scattered around. And then the minion is whatever the blue dot is. Nice, I got 3. Let's open this box. Let's see, we got dumplings, firecrackers, prism lotus, vines, and all of that good stuff. Alright, so Shendao 1 has one more day to get their mental state up, or face the tribulation. And then besides that, I could remove this talisman too. And then once I confirm that Shendao 1 is able to max out their mental state with just these 2 distress debuffs, then I'll be able to move forward and just do it with all of my Shendao at the same time. But I just like to use Shendao 1 as like a guinea pig. So we're 98%. And we have, let's see, 99%. And we're not maxed out. So they do have to face a tribulation. And then I have some demon beasts that are snakes, which is very useful because now I can get some more tier 12 snake spirit contracts. So these guys are all dead. Let me turn off butchering for them. And then have my Heavenstone Law Bear make spirit contracts out of them. Because I know that they should be around tier 12. Let's see, yeah, they're tier 12. State contracts are always welcome. Also, I wonder what their artifact power bonus is. Okay, only 1,900%. So I wonder what that means. Yeah, their artifact power is still pretty weak. Anyways, they have this belief tribulation that's accumulating. I just want to wait a little bit longer. I just want to wait until the end. Alright, this belief tribulation is a non-elemental tribulation, so I do want to do it around here. Or I guess anywhere, it doesn't really matter. So I'll just do it over here. And hopefully they'll get through. I mean, they have 480,000 chi and 7 barrier power, so they should be able to at least get through 1 tribulation. And then I believe that I should have my Shendao on balance, actually. No, actually, I'll just stick to restrain. It doesn't really matter. So this right here is the belief tribulation. It's golden. I actually didn't notice that. And it's really not that powerful. Wow. I actually forgot that I had the artifact equipped. But Shendao, they don't really have the problem of... They don't have an issue with equipping their artifact during the tribulation because their chi recovery is really high and is based on their belief. So their artifact can never steal more chi from them. Whereas if you're a Shendao disciple and you have really low chi recovery, then your artifact will have significantly more chi recovery than you. So using an artifact is always bad for a Shendao disciple, but using an artifact is pretty much always good for a Shendao disciple. So we got through that belief tribulation, which was pretty easy. So now we just have to worry about increasing our mental state again. Oh wow, we just barely got there. So it seems like exactly like the debuff that I put on them was enough to max out mental state. And it's also pretty funny that I barely didn't make it for Shendao 1. So I mean, that was close enough, and I was able to show you guys how to get strong enough to, you know, survive some tribulations. So now that that's done, I do notice that this guy has the sect leader and branch leader debuff on now, so I just want to remove them as the sect leader and branch leader and then switch it over to Shendao 2. So let's move Shendao 2 over, but I do want to check out their tire debuff to see what that looks like. So this is 14 days and this is also 14 days, so everything went perfectly. So now I can move forward with doing this with my other Shendao disciples, and I'll do that off screen and then come back to you guys once I'm done maxing out my mental state for all of my disciples. But yeah, Shendao 1 has this message, which means they have 700 mental state, and I just have it suppressed by, I think, if this is 91 and then this one should be 198, so I have it suppressed by 300 right now, or 300 and something. But their total mental state right now is definitely 700 minus the sessions that they have. So yeah, I'll come back to this when I'm done maxing out my mental state for my other Shendao. I'm not done, but I'm halfway done, and I did want to also point out that my Shendao disciples, for example, so right here Shendao 3 has the maximum debuff for the distressed branch leader and the distressed sect leader debuff. However, you can actually double up these bonuses by stacking the distress debuff and the tire debuff, so I did want to actually demonstrate how to do that. So right now, as you can see, Shendao 3, I just reduced their mental state, and they only have 40 mental state that they can gain in the still stage. So obviously I need more. I need about 60 more in order for them to be able to stay in the still stage for long enough to gain 100 mental state. So the first thing I'm going to do obviously is to wise detach them, so that I can increase the rate in which they gain mental state. And then besides that, because they have already had the distressed branch leader and sect leader debuff and they have gone through a day, I can now actually stack on top the distressed branch leader debuff. I would rather stack on top the distressed branch leader debuff just because it's smaller than the sect leader debuff, and I only need to get 60 more mental state. So I'm just going to wait for my mental state to go up a little bit more, because I'm about to reduce it by an additional 97 by stacking up that debuff. So I'm just going to show you guys what that looks like. So right now it's at 275. So Shendao 3, they right now have the distressed branch leader debuff. So I'm going to remove them as the branch leader, and now they have the tire debuff from when they were a branch leader. So then I can add the branch leader debuff on again. So now they have the tire debuff and they have the distressed branch leader debuff, and now their mental state is like super low. So I'll actually have to turn on this everlasting prosperity talisman now in order to regain that mental state, so that they can eventually reach 700 mental state naturally. And then besides that, I did do that on Shendao 2, so now Shendao 2 has that message, and I did have to equip another talisman to bring them up to the wise mental state stage, just so that I could make sure that they don't accumulate any more hatred, so that I don't have to do that belief tribulation. So yeah, I just want to do a quick intermission to show that, and I'll come back to you guys whenever I'm done cultivating these guys. Alright, I'm back, and I have double checked that all of my Shendaos have maxed out their mental state. So as you can see, these guys have 700 mental state max, and some of them still have tire debuffs, and I did go and double check to make sure that I didn't get that weird 49-day tire debuff, and I made sure to refresh any of them that were like that. But right now, all of the tire debuffs that I have are fairly short, so I'm just going to send my Shendao to Mount Cabertum to finally remove the tire debuff, and then I'll pretty much be done, and I just have to, you know, remove obsessions in order to keep their mental state at a 700 max, and then I can just move forward with doing all the extra things like crafting the legacy artifact and also increasing my Shendao's powers. So I'm going to send these guys to Mount Cabertum. Also, now that my Shendao are pretty much max mental state, I can just keep them on balance indefinitely, and there's no reason for me to go on restrained or indulgence on my Shendao disciple anymore. So I'm just going to keep them on balance now. And then also, one thing that I wanted to point out is that their base divinity didn't increase by that much even after like 400 days of gameplay while I was AFK and accumulating belief. So that's a really good sign. So you pretty much just have a really long time to accumulate divinity with your Shendao disciple. So my guys are still like pretty low base divinity of like 60%, and then 50% for the ones that didn't use the resurrection miracle. And then besides that, they also have pretty good belief. Alright, so now it's time for me to pretty much wait until these guys finish removing their tired debuff. Alright, I'm back, and my Shendao have lost their tired debuff, so now I'm good to bring them back into the sect. And they pretty much have max mental state, and then if they have less than 700 mental state, then that is more than likely due to the fact that they each have obsessions. So now it's time to bring my Shendaos back and then prepare to move into the next phase of Shendao cultivation, which includes creating the sacred artifact and fully upgrading it, and also clearing obsessions so that my Shendaos can gain extra slots for their divine realms, so that they can add the legacy modifiers, which can only be added at the 4th ring. So let me just look at my Shendao Disciples Divine Realm right now. So right now they have 3 slots, and I need to have 8 on my Shendaos to max out a legacy artifact. So that means I need to build up 6, or I need to build up 5 obsessions on my Shendao Disciples, so that I can remove them. So yeah, it looks like all of them have 3 slots right now, and all of these 3 slots are from my tier 3 agencies that have wonders that add Shendao disciple slots. So sadly, when I was removing the tired debuff, I actually should have had my Shendaos cultivate so that they can start to build up this anxious obsession. However, I didn't do that, so I will actually need to go back to Mount Coppertune if I want to save endgame days, in order to just give my Shendao some time to build up this anxious obsession. So let me prepare for doing that now that I'm not afraid of losing mental state through having 3 obsessions, because my Shendaos are they have really high base mental state, and I don't have that many divine buildings set up such that I need to keep their mental state really high to keep up with population needs. So the first thing I want to do is actually make sure that they have their mental state talismans removed, because I don't need those anymore. So this guy doesn't need the story talisman anymore, and they pretty much just need the talisman that will increase their belief gains and make it so that they don't ascend. So I just want the divine concealment, and I want the divine perception as far as being off map. So let's remove the story talisman also. Throw on this divine concealment and divine perception. And then let's see, Shendao 3. They have divine perception and divine concealment equipped as well. Shendao 4. Okay, so it looks like they're good. What's Shendao 5 doing? Okay, so they are good. Then Shendao 6 needs the divine perception and divine concealment. So this guy has 645. There's one Shendao that had way less mental state than the others. Yeah, Shendao 1. So Shendao 1, I guess they lost a little bit of mental state. I don't know why their mental state is less, because ideally their mental state should be 600 and something, right? Maybe it was the tribulation or something. Let's see. Yeah, so Shendao 1 actually should have a base mental state of 600, and I don't know why Their base mental state is 546 right now. So let me just look through this. So they're at negative 135 mental state for some reason. These guys are at negative 55 and negative 50, negative 55. I don't know why this guy's at negative 135 mental state. Exhausted, crazy with hunger. Guess anyone could be the branch leader. It's probably something related to the branch leader and the sec leader debuff, so I may have to put it back on Shendao 1 and then remove it, but I'll handle that off screen. But anyways, I'm gonna have my Shendaos use Celestial Meditation so that they can build up this accession. And then they should stop promptly because they only need 1 ESP. And then I'll send them over to Mount Carbertum in order to accumulate that Ancient Succession. So as you can see, 5 of my Shendaos reached the limit. And that's because I had one of my Shendaos already had this session. So I didn't need to worry about that. So now I do want to move forward and build up this succession for my Shendaos as well. So let's just make sure everyone has pretty good inclination so that they're not losing mental state. Yeah, everyone is plus 0.6 per day. And then Shendao 1 has positive inclination as well. But this is based on their distress, so it can go down actually. So I definitely will need to fix Shendao 1. But I'm more focused on building up these obsessions on the Shendaos that don't have the Ancient Obsession, and I'm just going to send in Shendao 4 as well, just because Shendao 4 can still gain belief while off map, while these guys build up the obsession. So you never want to waste time in terms of like gaining belief and things like that if you can. So yeah, I'm going to do yet another break in order to gain the Ancient Obsessions for my Shendao disciples. So I'll see you guys after this. Alright, I'm back, and all of my Shendaos now have this Ancient Obsession, and now they have 700 mental state minus 90, which should be 610, but they all have a base mental state of 5, so they're at 615 mental state, which is perfect for these guys. This guy has 634 because I had them equip a couple of these items as well. And then besides that, I still need to go and fit Shendao 1. But anyways, I think I'm good to bring my disciples back into my sect. And begin to prepare for the obsession tribulations so that I can remove these obsessions and gain 3 states each for my Shendaos. So now I'm going to come back into my map, and then I'm going to create a save scum. So yeah, I think I'm at a pretty good spot where I can start. I do need to stop and fix Shendao 1, but I was able to show you guys pretty much how to increase your mental state to 700 mass. It's pretty much just the same as increasing your mental state in the other realms. However, you just need to use more things. So you have to use the branch leader debuff, the sect leader debuff, and then you have to make them have the tire debuff, and then stack the branch leader or the sect leader on top of the Shendao disciple again. And then besides that, you also want to build up the Ancient Obsession. So then in the next video, I'll show you guys pretty much how to do Obsession Tribulations and how to set up your Shendao's Legacy artifact. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you learned something. Later.